Hello there. Right, this is going to be a ridiculously minimalist review of Combat Patrol. We're going to go through it thoroughly, to be fair, but I have picked my copy up this morning and I've gone to work and I'm recording it on my phone. So we're going to get through it definitely. We're going to do the building and all that sort of stuff, just maybe a little bit different to normal weeks. So this week we have 5 Infernus Marines. Now, very important update for this week is that as well as our Marines, we get our data sheets for our first 2 combat patrol squads. So, as we've been collecting so far, the Tyranids and the Space Marines, we get their data sheets, all except for 1 unit for the Tyranids. So we complete the collection in terms of data sheets for Space Marines and all but 1 unit for the Tyranids. We also get some kind of terrain overlays to go onto our battle maps that we've got. There's 2 sides to this. One is just a kind of graphic, and the other one does have some very basic stats: toughness, saving throws, and wounds. So that's pretty cool. We'll learn about that as we go through the magazine. Now, Combat Patrol issue number 3. Take aim and fire. This issue contains both a powerful ranged unit for your army and a tutorial for using them in battle. You'll also receive your first Battlefield Essentials cards. These are handy accessories for referencing rules or using as terrain in your tabletop battles. Happy hobbying. So we cover today, I will cover the build guide, I will cover everything in the read section, so A Million Worlds, Space Marines at War, Space Marine Companies, and Deep Strike. I'll cover the collect portion, which is looking at our collection. The play side of it, I will do in a separate video, which if you're watching this in the morning, will be uploaded in the evening. If you're watching this Wednesday, anytime after Wednesday evening, that will already have been uploaded, so you can go and find the play section. Other thing we get here is we get another kind of subscription reminder, everything we get in the premiums. But we've seen all this sort of stuff before. It is just another way to get you to start collecting, because this, I believe, is going to be the last issue that appears in all of the kind of general Hachette newsagents and that kind of thing, and will start to either be subscription only or collection from some larger WH Smith stores, and I believe some Asda stores as well. So that's it. So let's get into the build guide. That's what we start with. Okay, so we're building our sergeant first. So first of all, we're going to need to clip off sections 27 and 28, and then 31, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Okay, so first start by connecting the head to part 28. That connects sort of at the shoulder point. And then you can go ahead and connect that to the main part, which is section 27. So it'll look like that. Okay, so next connect part 31 and 35 together. So that is the chest piece and the left arm, which is holding the combat knife. And then connect that to the main torso. So I hope this goes well today, because I haven't actually got any glue. This is such a kind of slapdash review. Okay, and then it's just a case of attaching the other arm. And the backpack. And then we add our base. So there you go, that's our sergeant. Okay, squad member number 2, we need to take parts 20 to 26. Okay, so then we're going to first of all take parts 20 and 21 and attach them together. That is the head and the front part of the torso. Then we're going to take parts 22 and 23 and fit those together. Those are both of the sections with the legs. Then we're going to add our head and torso onto the main section. I have to say it's all going together remarkably well. And then finally, just add our weapons. So we have the flamer, both arms connected. And then finally, again, the backpack. So far, so good. 2 down and 3 to go. It's all going together remarkably well, I have to say. Okay, Infernus squad number 3. So we're taking parts 1 to 6 here. Okay, so here we are taking the main section with both the legs and we're adding the head, which slots in behind. And then we're adding the back section. And then we're adding both arms, including the weapon. And the backpack. Okay, another very straightforward one. I have to say, honestly, the way these things go together now, if anyone who has been in the hobby for less than a couple of years, assembly used to be horrible in comparison to now. There used to be a bigger hobby aspect. It certainly took, in the past, it was very, very possible to mess up models during the assembly phase. Okay, right. That's our third Marine done. Number 4, so we're looking for sections 7 to 12. So we make that 7 to 13. Okay, so first of all, we need the head, the chest piece, and connect those together. And then we straight away add section 9, which is the weapon, to all of that. So that might not look like much at this stage. In fact, it really don't. So we're connecting that to the large section, which is the piece with, actually, before we do that, we'll add the legs together for parts 10 and 11. Right, then add the body section onto the area with the legs. Then finally we add our other arm, our backpack, and the base. Okay, and then finally, our last section, which is for which we need pieces 14 to 19. Okay, so what we're doing here, we're adding sections 14 and 15 together, which is the head to the main part with both legs. And onto that, we put the back on, which is section 16. '17, which is the arm which is holding the gun. You might actually need to have some cleanup on that part before you do it. Oh, actually, it's not a sprue point. My model's just been a bit bent in transportation. So that will require some sort of other fixing. Then we add our other arm and our backpack. And that is our 5 Infernus Marines. So remember, the one holding the knife is your sergeant. Now, I've assembled him with the face showing. You can use point number 13 on the sprue. You can use that instead, which is a helmeted version. You can use that instead if you don't want to use. A lot of people who do Space Marine don't like painting any skin or any skin tones or anything like that. So you can use the alternative head for that. But yeah, that's it. You will also have 2 sections left, which is part 32 and 30. 32 is a grenade, holding a grenade, and 30, I'm not sure what the difference is on that. It looks like it's a section for holding a weapon, so perhaps this is kind of half of a larger sprue of 10 of these Marines. So perhaps there's another part on the other sprue, which we won't get in this collection, I don't believe. I think we've got all of the Infernus Marines we're going to get. So that is the build guide. Next up, we have A Million Worlds. The Imperium believes that the galaxy belongs to it by right. On A Million Worlds, plus countless space stations, lunar colonies, and listening posts, Imperial citizens toil in the name of the God Emperor. These worlds reflect the brutality, Imperial rule, and are cruel places designed to feed an endless war effort. So that is A Million Worlds, and that will be put into section A. On the other side of that, it goes through some of the home worlds for various things. So the Hive world house countless trillions of imperial subjects within the spires of Hive cities, hellish, sky-piercing towers that rise balefully from the mists of a polluted wastelands. All who live here must toil endlessly. Next, we have Forge World. Forge Worlds are planet-sized factories overseen by the Holy Order of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Their forges produce the tanks, guns, and colossal battle titans required for the Imperium's endless wars. We have Agri-World. The ecology of many Imperial worlds is wrecked by war and industry. They rely on the agri-worlds for food. These worlds are dedicated entirely to farming, grain, and herding hardy livestock. And then shrine worlds. They're covered in temples, reliquaries, and tombs for the Imperium's honoured dead. Pilgrims crowd in their millions to bulk haulers on to visit and pay their tithes to worlds such as these. Then the next section is Space Marines at War. Space Marine combat doctrine is focused on using a small elite force of troops to shatter a larger force in a single brutal strike. The tactics used to accomplish this strategy are varied. Space Marines are, above all else, flexible fighters capable of adapting to any enemy and any situation they should face. That continues with going on about the Vanguard. While the Space Marines are masters of brutal close assault, they are adept at guerrilla warfare. The Vanguard squads of the 10th Company wear Phobos stealth armor. So this is great, but we don't get it in this collection. All this Phobos stuff, nothing to do with this collection. Neither are the armored support it goes into here when it talks about tanks and all that sort of stuff. Next up, we have companies. Lieutenant Calcius, I see. A throwback from the old Conquest days. A Space Marine chapter is made up of companies. Companies are a balanced army unto themselves. Others are made up of elite warriors who share the same tactics and ways of war. That is continued further on the first company, so a bit of information about the first company. Only the most skilled warriors are granted the honour of joining the first company. Here, the chapter's greatest veterans are formed into elite units specialised in line breaking and close assaults. Squads of first company veterans are often fielded alongside other companies to aid them. Then it goes all the way down to 10th Company. Next up, we have Deep Strike. And this is a kind of story section. Lanius regarded the humans at his feet. Once, a long, long time ago, he had been like these creatures. He too had cringed with devotion to the statues of the Adeptus Astartes. He too had known the icy grip of fear in the face of the alien, the heretic and the mutant. Now he was more even than a Space Marine. He did not regard this with pride or arrogance. Every year, every triumph in battle, every commendation weighed upon his shoulders as heavily as his Terminator warplate. He took a breath of stale ship air, drinking in the rich smells of gun oil, blood, and incense. Then the serfs lowered his huge helmet, as large as one of their torsos, over his head. So that is a much longer story, which will be interesting to go through. So that's Fiction 01. Now, the collection part of things. This goes for our Infernus squad. It's got the really dumb rolling result to name the squad. Don't need to do that at all. Our little checklist for if we've built, painted them, and played with them. And then we have our data sheet, which is combined with all the data sheets that we received in today's issue. So let's grab Infernus Squad. So it specifically says Combat Patrol data sheet on these. Not 40k or anything else, Combat Patrol only. And we can actually do a little quick comparison. So movement 6, toughness 4, saves on a 3-up, 2 wounds, leadership of 6+, and objective control of 1. Yeah, this all checks out. No differences whatsoever. Includes all of our keywords, our faction keywords, our abilities. Everything is there. So actually, there you go. What is Combat Patrol? Combat Patrol is the quickest and simplest way to start collecting and playing Warhammer 40,000. In games of Combat Patrol, 2 players command a compact army of miniatures in tactical clashes. Every faction has a Combat Patrol, and you'll receive 9 of them in this collection. All you need to do is choose your faction, assemble your miniatures, and prepare for war. Yeah, more on naming tables and that kind of thing. Don't have any interest in that. They don't last long enough to name them. Right, so we have got our play section here. Cleanse, purge, kill. I'm not going to go through the play section now. So like I said earlier, if you want to see the play section, it will be uploaded separately on the same day as this goes out. But if you're in the UK, it'll be in the evening instead of the morning. So this is the first section when we actually get to do some shooting. An Infernus Marine has been dispatched to burn his way through the heart of the Tyranid swarm to rescue his commander. However, he has run into a Tyranid trap, an infestation of Tyranid tendrils that spew vile spores into the air. Will he be able to purge the Tyranids, or will he perish? Okay, so this is quite interesting. So this, it appears like we have he's not up against any Tyranid models. It's literally him against all of the kind of terrain stuff that we've got. So this is the first time we do some shooting. Now, if you're heavily into 40k and that kind of thing, my apologies. I am going to go through this. So yeah, you can zone out for a minute or skip. Many units in Warhammer 40,000 are armed with ranged weapons. Attacking with these is much like attacking with melee weapons, except you can use ranged weapons to shoot at distant enemies. Example, a unit of Von Ryan's Leapers is advancing on the Infernus squad. The Space Marines take a deadly shooting attack to try and save themselves from the oncoming carnage. Weapons in Warhammer 40,000 are very varied. Many have special rules that make them more powerful. Pyre blasters, for example, automatically hit their opponents. Okay, and then to determine wounds. So if you roll your hit values, so for the Infernus squad, they hit on a 3-up with their bolt pistols, or with their pyre blasters, as mentioned here, they automatically hit. So they automatically hit. Now, for wounding rolls, you are testing your strength against your opponent's toughness. So what we have here is a little table. So we can see from our other data sheets that the Von Ryan Leapers have a toughness of 5. Okay, so if we're using the Pyre Blasters, who have a strength of 5, and we are facing a toughness of 5 from the Von Ryan Leapers, it means strength is equal, which means you need to get a 4 up. If your strength is greater than their toughness, you have to roll a 3 up in order to wound them. And then if your strength is at least double their toughness, you only need a 2 up. There is no situation where a 1 will go through. It is basically the best you can do is that if you're at least double their toughness, you need to roll a 2 to wound them. Just in the same way as if your strength is less than their toughness, you need a 5. And if it's less than half of their toughness, you need a 6. That will be explained much better and further in my video playthrough, which will come out later on. Okay, so mission 3, cleanse, purge, kill. We will need to place our infestation sites for this one. They all have a wounds characteristic. They all have a saving and toughness characteristic. So we will need to destroy them. They are deployed as mentioned here. And our Space Marine is going to be deployed in the bottom left-hand corner. Right, okay, so movement for the purposes of this, will be moving in various sections on the sheet. So you can do a normal move, which means they can move 1 square, or they can do a run move, which means they can move 2. So in this situation, yeah, so all of these different areas have different toughnesses. So you've got 2, 3, 5, and 6. They all save on different numbers as well, but they all have 2 wounds. So yeah, that's going to determine how tough it is for you to be able to do damage and that kind of thing. And for the purpose of this particular battle, there is only going to be one of the Infernus Marines that you're going to be using. So that's all straightforward, but again, we will go through it separately in another video. The battle ends for now. Did you manage to purge the infestation sites, or did the Infernus Marine fall in battle? Check the results below. Okay, so that is that. So that is the magazine. We get loads more wound markers. I think what I'm going to do with those is I am going to use them. I normally use dice, but I think for the sake of the collection, I am going to use them. And I might actually laminate them just to preserve them a bit more. And then our next 2 magazines is issue 4, which is a bunch of paint, Macragge Blue, Barak Nar Burgundy, and Wraithbone, along with a starter brush. And then issue 5 is going to be our new Infernus Marines Sergeant. So mixed feelings on the Sergeant, to be honest with you. Yes, it's exclusive, that's great, but again, we're only going to really substitute it for for our other Sergeant that we've already got. So in hindsight, it maybe would have been better to just assemble that as a normal unit instead of a Sergeant. But I don't think we might not have the parts for it. But anyway, yeah, so we've got a Space Marine Sergeant coming up. So my next video will be playthroughs. And then after that, I'm not sure if I'm going to pick up issue 4 separately or wait for my delivery from Hachette. I'll probably wait for my delivery from Hachette, but I will have other Combat Patrol content released over the next few weeks to stretch us out till we get there. Maybe I'll do some painting, and I'll certainly come back and flesh out some of those playthrough videos a little bit more. But thanks very much for watching, guys. Much appreciated. I will catch you later.